Episode 4. Echoes in the Silence. Jessica! Her father's voice sliced through the air again, this time with an edge of irritation. Jessica quickly opened her door, stepping into the dim corridor with shaky legs. She could already feel her pulse quicken, her heart beating against her ribcage like a trapped bird. Her father stood at the dining table, his stern face illuminated by the overhead light. Without waiting for her to speak, he snapped, "Go to the kitchen, carry your food, and make sure you wash all those dirty plates. And arrange that kitchen. Your mother is very tired, so she's already resting. Or do you want her to come and do that for you?" Jessica shook her head quickly. "No, sir," she muttered, barely above a whisper, and hurried towards the kitchen door. "Your sisters are coming back this Saturday," her father added abruptly, before turning away and retreating to his bedroom. The door slammed shut behind him, making Jessica flinch. She paused by the kitchen door, her hand resting on the worn wood as a mix of relief and apprehension filled her. Her sisters were finally coming back. That was good news, right? But then again, they were returning to this same house. A house filled with tension, silence, and fear. She could already imagine their faces, wishing they didn't have to come back. Jessica sighed and pushed open the kitchen door. She flipped on the light switch and stared at the mess in front of her. Plates stacked unevenly, pots with caked-on food, and utensils scattered across the counter. Her mother must have been too drained to clean after dinner. She turned on the sink tap and began scrubbing a plate, her mind drifting as the cold water ran over her hands. The clinking of dishes was the only sound in the house. Lost in her thoughts, she barely noticed when a soapy plate slipped from her grasp. With a startled gasp, she caught it just before it hit the floor. Her heart pounded as she glanced nervously towards the hallway, half expecting her father to burst out of his room. Nothing. Jessica exhaled deeply and continued cleaning, this time with more care. She worked slowly, methodically washing each item, arranging them neatly, and wiping down the countertops. By the time the kitchen was spotless, her hands were pruned and her back ached. She grabbed her plate of food and sat at the dining table, eating quietly. Her father's rule was clear: no eating in the rooms. The dining table or the kitchen was the only acceptable place. Jessica chewed in silence, her eyes darting to the hallway every so often, as if her father might reappear at any moment. After she finished, she washed her plate, wiped her hands, and tiptoed back to her room. She shut the door softly, letting out a breath of relief. It was over. For now. The next morning, Jessica woke up early, the faint light of dawn spilling through the window. She quickly set to work, sweeping the living room and tidying the house. Her movements were swift and efficient, fueled by the need to avoid her father's criticism. By the time she finished, the house was in order. She returned to her room, took a quick bath, and got dressed. Today was important. It was her first day as an official trainee at the Skill Acquisition Center, her first real step towards pursuing her dream of fashion designing. As she packed her things, a faint glimmer of excitement stirred within her. It was rare in this house to feel any sense of hope, but today felt different. It felt like the start of something. Jessica opened her door to leave, her mind filled with plans for the day. Just as she reached the front door, she froze. From her parents' bedroom, she could hear muffled voices, her father's low tone and her mother's softer one. For a moment, it sounded peaceful, almost tender. But Jessica's stomach churned. She couldn't shake the feeling that this fragile calm wouldn't last. As she stepped out into the morning light, she whispered to herself, "How long until the next storm?"